The nature of federalism. What is nature of federalism? India has adopted the federal form of structure from the US Constitution. Now, there they follow the separation of power, but in India we follow the distribution of power. We do not follow the separation of power strictly. Though we had adopted the federal form of structure from the US Constitution, but we do not have a federal structure in strict sense. We have some unitary features in our Indian Constitution, which makes it a quasi-federal state rather than a federal form of structure. India has federal structure with some unitary feature. This is why India is a quasi-federal structure. So, what are the features which makes Indian Constitution a federal with a unitary feature system, meaning a quasi-federal state? First of all, division of power is not equal. In India, the division of power between the central government and the state government are not equal. So, first of all, we have to know what are the features of federal form of structure. Features of federal form of structure. First, there are two or more tiers of government. First, central government and the state government. In India, we rather follow, or we can say that we have a third tier system, which is a panchayat system, which works in a grassroots level or in a village level. This helps central government to reach the very smallest unit or the grassroots level of the India. Second, bicameral legislation. Bicameral legislation means there are two chambers in parliament. First is upper house, that is the Rajya Sabha. Second is lower house, that is Lok Sabha. Both works together to form a parliament. Third is rigidity of the constitution. In federal form of structure, we have a rigid constitution. We must have rigid constitution because if it is flexible, then the amendment will be easy in the constitution, which is not good for the federal structure. A federal form of structure do not require amendment so easily and so fast. Fourth is separation of power. There is a separation of power in federal form of structure, which means the power between the central government and the state government is divided. Central government works in its sphere for the whole country, sitting at the capital city, whereas in state government works in their state, working for the territory or the jurisdiction of the state. Fifth feature is supremacy of constitution. In every federal form of structure, we require that the supreme law of land is constitution rather than the other machinery. Like in unitary form of structure, we often see in Britain, there is a supremacy of parliament rather than the constitution. In India, we have a supremacy of constitution, that no one is above law and no one exceeds the provision of the constitution. Now, the sixth feature of federal form of structure is power and functions of each level of government is guaranteed by the constitution. Constitution guarantees the powers of the central government, the state government and the local authorities to the panchayat and so on. In the central government authorizes or acquires its power from the list 1, Schedule 7, Article 246, where there are numerous entries in which the central government can make laws. State lists have the subject matters in which the state government can make laws, and the concurrent list. Concurrent lists provide the subject matters in which the central government and the state government both can make laws. Now, the 7 features of federal form of structure, which is written constitution. The constitution must be written in every federal form of structure. Unlike in unitary, where there is no need of written constitution. Britain have no written constitution like India, like Canada or like US government. Now, the next feature is supremacy of constitution. Constitution must be supreme in federal form of structure. That means there is supreme law of land, which is constitution. Unlike unitary form of structure, where is parliament is supreme. In Britain, there is supremacy of parliament rather than the constitution. But in USA, in India, there is a supremacy of constitution, which means there is no law, or we can say that there is no one above the law and above the constitution. Now, the next is independent judiciary. In federal form of structure, there is independence of judiciary. Judiciary works independently, separate from the executive, or we can say that administrative legislature, they work differently from the others. Judiciary works separately. This maintains the separation of power, which means the legislature and the executive do not interfere in the work of judiciary. Judiciary have their own authority which they derive from the constitution and they work according to it. Now, what is importance of federalism? Why are federal structure important? The first importance of federal form of structure is decentralization of power. The power is decentralized between the central government and the state government. In India, we rather say that the power is further decentralized in the local authorities, panchayat in the village level. Panchayat works in a grassroots level for the village, which helps the central government to reach the very lower level of the or very lower unit of the country. Now, the second importance of the federal form of structure is governance becomes easy. And how the governance becomes easy? Governance becomes easy because in federal form of structure, where the central works in the capital city, sitting there for the whole country, state government works in their state, it becomes easy for the central government to reach all the state government. As in India, we have for the local authorities or the panchayat, the central government, it helps central government to reach the lower unit of the country, which is village. They can connect people directly to the village, which helps them to work in the government, which helps them to develop the India. Now, third feature is maintaining the supremacy of constitution. In federal form of structure, Supreme Court is called as a Gurnam of the country, which means it is above all. In unitary feature, there is a supremacy of parliament, but in a country like India, USA, constitution is a Gurnam and no one is above the constitution. Fourth feature is diversity is maintained. In a country like India, where is so many races and religion, the diversity of India is maintained. As in federal form of structure, we do not promote one religion. India is a secular country and each person have right to follow their own religion, ethnicity, culture or races.